So you want to be a listing agent. You think you want to be a listing agent, do you? You do. Okay. Well, let's explore some and see, one of the advantages of bad handwriting is you almost have no idea what this says. Between the glare on the board and my bad handwriting, who knows what I put up here. So if you want to be a listing agent, let's talk about some characteristics of great listing agents. Okay? And as we're doing this, kind of score yourself against it. Like, how much of this is true for you? And then, are you willing to make the changes necessary? And if you're not, I was going to say Home Depot's hiring, but I'm not sure that they are. So, okay, an attempt at humor this morning, not a great attempt. Qualities of great listing agents. I put 5 up here. Okay, number 1, they prospect every day. They prospect every day, 5 days a week. I hear things like this. I like working with home buyers. You lying dog. You lying dog. You do not. That is not true. What is true is you do not like doing the listing side activities. You do not like the outbound prospecting. It's not what most of us got into real estate for. We didn't see it like that. People call me. I like helping people. I hear this stuff all the time. I like helping people. That's why I got into real estate. Total bullshit. You do not. You like getting paid, and you like people contacting you. You like inbound inquiries in which you then try to help them, right? You're never going to convince me you like working with home buyers, especially in this marketplace. They take tremendous amounts of time. They take forever. NAR did a survey. How many labor hours on the buyer side of the transaction on average? And averages are really tough things, right? Their study came back and said, on average in the United States, 38.5 hours per transaction on the buyer side of the transaction. 38.5 labor hours. How many labor hours on the seller side of the transaction? 8. 8.25, I think, was the answer. For the same paycheck, for the same commission dollars, you're telling me that you like to work 30 extra hours per deal? Lying dog. You do not like the outbound prospecting. It makes you feel uncomfortable. I get it. Don't do it. But listing agents prospect every day, 5 days a week. Number 2, they know their numbers. They know their numbers. How many dials? How many outreaches? How many contacts? Conversations. How many appointments set? How many listings taken? They know it without having to look it up. I made 100 calls today to speak to 33 people to set 1 appointment, got no listing. I have to go on 10 listing appointments to take 6. They know. Back in the mid-90s, I did a lot of door knocking because we didn't have a phone on our hip and we had no social media, and it was a free way of prospecting. But I knew this. Every 53 doors was a listing. How did I do it? Do you want to sell your house? That's it. Anybody need to write that down? No? Knock, knock, knock. Do you want to sell your house? No. Good. I only have 52 more to go. Every 53 doors. Now, on the 53 doors, 53rd door, was that a listing? No, it's statistics. So there were times when I would go weeks and all people would do is slam the door in my face. And there were times when, like one day, 3 out of the first 5 doors, I only got to 5 doors that day because 3 of them actually did want to list their house. Yeah, it's a great day. Yeah. Right, that's how I still remember it 20-some years later. But statistically, every 53 doors was a listing. And I knew that within that, 6 people would be really mean, and 3 people would be too nice. Like they got nothing to do and they want you to come in. Be a 28-year-old and knock on some old lady. I gotta be clear. Taping everything we say. Some people just didn't have anything to do. And you had to be careful of them too. Okay? No, I can't come in and have tea with you. I'm not sure what tea was code for, but how did I know 6 and 3? We'll do it a couple thousand times, you'll know. Great listing agents know their numbers. How many outreaches, how many conversations, how many appointments, how many listings. You just know. Well, you have to know. To not know, well, you're not running a business then. Wait, you're just going to call people till you don't feel like doing it anymore? Number 3, they have a strong follow-up program. Great listing agents know that it's not anybody that you talk to one time. That's going nowhere. Greg, let's apply it to your business. So you stop at my cube out there and we have a nice conversation and you seem like a really nice guy, and now all my mortgage referrals go to you for the rest of my career.
I only wish.
Right. Wouldn't that be great? I'm sure that's when Greg wakes up in the morning, that's what he wishes was true, but he has to earn your trust and confidence and loyalty. He has to earn it. He has to work for it. Because he stopped and had a conversation with you one time in the hallway? Come on. It's over and over and over again. So if that's true for him, why is it any different for us? It's not. It's not anything that you did once. And if you did something once and you expected something to happen from it, you're crazy. Can you imagine if Greg said, hey, Mike, everybody in the company I've walked around and had a conversation with, where's all my mortgage applications? I'm like, well, dude, it doesn't work like that. You want my business, you're going to have to earn it. I'm going to have to learn to trust you. I'm going to have to think that you're competent. I don't know that. He had to convince you. How does he do that? An organized campaign over and over again. Number 4, they ask a lot of questions. So I was going to put something else there, but I thought, no, it's all about that. It's just, then watch the next time you go to your doctor's office. It's just nothing but an endless series of questions. You walk in there, right? If you've been to a doctor's office recently, doesn't it work like this? I mean, now mine's got an electronic tablet, no more paper. And I go in, and I've got an appointment, right? But their appointment, it's like a 3-step process. So I walk in there, and they hand me this tablet, and now I have to sit down and tell them everything that I've told them before, right? Nothing new's happened to me, right? Other than the reason I'm there that day, but I'm not taking I haven't had any major surgery since the last time. All these questions, right? And then what's the second step?
Triage. Take your vitals.
The nurse.
Oh yeah, they're going to take me back to a room, right? And maybe she takes blood pressure and temperature, right? She's just setting me up, and then I get to sit in that room. That's really an awkward experience, right? Like, can I look through the drawers? Can I look at all this stuff? And you sit in there, well, they're just moving us around. And then the doctor comes in. When the doctor comes in, he just starts asking me questions too, like I already answered this stuff. I got into it with my credit card company last week because I had an issue on a charge, and you call in and they ask for your account number, right? You plug it all in, and they ask for your Social Security, last 4 digits, all these identification things. And then the operator comes on, and you know what they do? They start asking me the same questions again. So I refuse. I'm like, no, I already entered that information. You have it right there on your screen. You don't need to ask me again. But they do. Great listing agents ask a ton of questions. Why? The same reason my doctor's office does. They can't help me if they don't understand what's going on with me. They can't. They could hurt me. They could give me bad advice. And I don't want them to, so I cooperate with this endless series of questions, right? But what do we do in real estate? We go in and we verbally vomit all over them. We just walk in the door and we just start this, and we never shut up. Why? Well, we still haven't wrestled that ego of ours to the ground yet, but mostly we're nervous and unprepared. So here's the non-conscious strategy that less skilled listing agents are using. And it is strategy. They're doing it on purpose. I really don't know what to do and what to say, so I'm going to talk long and fast enough in the hopes that I say something you like. And I'm not going to shut up until you agree to list the house with me. Why? Because the only reason why you wouldn't have listed the house with me is I didn't say something that you liked. Well, what is it that they would like? I don't know, but I'll just keep talking until I say it. Eventually, that's how I play pool. Anybody here good at pool? Anybody? Nobody's really good at pool? You're okay? So if you and I were playing pool, you know what my strategy is? If I hit the ball hard enough, it goes in. The only reason why a ball doesn't go in a pocket, I didn't hit it hard enough. Oh, you want me to start calling my shots? Like 7-ball in the side pocket. No, I can't do that. 7 balls going in one of the pockets. And the only reason I didn't hit it hard enough. And isn't that true? If I hit it hard enough, it'll eventually go in, right? That's how most of us are running our listing presentations. If I just talk long enough, I'll say something you like. Quit telling and start asking, right? You'll appear much more competent and a hell of a lot less annoying. And number 5, they have a strong, organized presentation. Like, this is being done on purpose. Like, this isn't the first time I've done it. Even if it is the first time I've done it, you won't be able to tell. Why? I'm a professional. This is my job. So they have a strong and organized presentation that leads to a natural conclusion. And if it doesn't, then you're wasting a lot of time. Now, here's my question for you today. Are you doing all 5? And if you are, what kind of grade, like on a 1 to 10 scale, what kind of grade would you give yourself? Okay? So you got 5 questions up here. You get 1 point for each grade that you give yourself. 1 to 10. So on each question, the lowest score you could get would be a 1, and the highest score you could get would be a 50 or a 10, right? Okay, so after all 5 questions, the lowest score you could be alive and have a real estate license and obtain would be 5, right? And the highest score you could attain would be 50. Play a little game with yourself. What score would you assign to you on each of the 5? Do you prospect every day, 5 days a week? Okay, and to what degree? So that's where it would influence the 10. You might say, yes, I do, but I only do it for like 20 minutes or until I get sick of it, or I'm not very good at it. I haven't done the work necessary to give myself a really high grade. So it's kind of a subjective score, but what kind of score would you give yourself? Do you know your numbers? Do you know how many attempts at contact you made today? Do you know how many conversations you've had? Do you know how many appointments you set? For a lot of us, that'll be really easy. Well, I didn't do the first 2, so of course the third. And how many listings did you take? Do you know your numbers? Well, kind of. Well, then what kind of score would you give yourself? On a scale of 1 to 10, how many How good are you at asking effective questions? Or do you talk too much? And number 5, do you have a strong, organized presentation? Could I sit down with you right now and pretend to be a seller and you run through your presentation and I go, that's pretty good. You actually make me want to sell my house. Where do you fall on that 1 to 10? Now add them up. Casey?
I have a question about the presentation. So what I've kind of adopted doing is when I go into a presentation, they kind of look at me like wide-eyed, and then I say, I want to sit down and have a conversation with you about what you'd like to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
And then I let them run the show. So I don't really feel like I've got like an active presentation as much as I'm just kind of rolling with the conversation to a conclusion.
Yeah, you're making it up as you go in each appointment?
I mean, yeah.
You said you let them kind of grow flow. I wouldn't. You think my doctor, when I go in for my doctor's appointment, just kind of lets me run the show? You think he doesn't have a series of questions in an organized manner that he's running through with me?
I feel like I'm doing it in an organized manner, but like I mean, should I be bringing like a folder full of stuff for them to be going through, or what?
Depends. Depends on who you're meeting with. Right? And a lot of times, most time, almost all the time, we're not really sure. Like, especially if we're meeting with a couple. Like, you might have been having a conversation with one party, and now the husband's going to be there too. Well, the wife in this scenario might be very conversational and relationshipy, and we might be friends. And she might be married to a systems engineer at Siemens, who's very process driven, right? No, like, Leah, tell me what you're going to do and in what order and by when. Yes. I want to know, and I want to see some examples. And you're like, hold it. I've been dealing with your wife, Mary, and Mary's like, well, just come over and we'll have some tea and chat. Right? They're different people. So what I want to be able to do is on the presentation, I want to be able to handle any type of personality. So do I want a presentation? Hell yeah. Zoe has one. You can use, we built one from a company level. You can use that and customize it. Why? Because the day you walk in there and don't have it is the day you'll need it. And I might sit down with some people and go, oh, well, I don't need to do a presentation here. This is just going to be a conversation. I just need to have an organized conversation that I go through with them. But a lot of times you'll never really know until you're in it. Yeah.
So the presentation is just the order of operations that you've set up for how you're going to list and sell their property.
I would have a hard copy presentation. Some people are going to want it.
Yeah.
Some people aren't.
And that's fair for them to want something in writing.
Some people want that. Some people they want to see it. Some people want to see that you have a presentation so it seems you know what you're doing. Some people, if you pull it out, they'll just groan and go, oh my God, you're not going to give me a PowerPoint presentation, are you? Right. So we deal with all different kinds of people. Our mistake would be to try to cram everybody down the same road. Well, to the degree that you get this right will be the degree of success that you have in your career. If you don't have the touch and the feel, the interpersonal skills to be able to tell who it is you're talking to and what they need in order to make a decision, you're going to lose. So some of us have been on appointments and we can't figure out why they listed with somebody else.
Questions?
Yeah, something in your you did the right stuff. You got yourself in the room with the decision makers, and the decision makers decided that this is the answer every time, and if you want to think it's something else, you're just wrong. The reason they didn't list the house with you, you aren't the most credible agent they spoke to. That's it. They spoke with some, we don't like that. We don't want to believe it's true. That's what it is. Somebody else did a better job. That's why they chose. No, I think it's because they cut their fee. Okay, well, if that helps you fall asleep tonight, then fine. It's probably not true. It's probably that you aren't the most credible agent that they've spoken to. Somebody else did a better job. Shelley.
I was just curious how the follow-up program aligns with the presentation, considering a lot of the stuff in the past has been advised for us to send in advance via email. And would you still say have all of that stuff physically printed to go over with them if they have like additional questions?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because you might go out to meet with Jim and Sally was just come over and we'll have some tea and we'll chat. And by the way, I think Jim will try to get home from early that day and join us if he can. Oh, hell yeah, he did.
But Jim,
And Jim and you sent your,
as well.
you sent, yeah, and he didn't look at it. But he needs it or he can't move forward. And then the next agent comes in and they're like, hey, Jim, here's my plan, and just open it up. And this is what I do, and this is the order I do with it. And Jim, if I don't do this, you won't have to fire me, Jim. Here's my written guarantee. I'll quit. Okay? And I pay you $500 for not implementing the marketing program I paid you. And Jim, I think communication's really important. Do you? Yes, good. So I have Thursday afternoon conversations with my clients, and if you're not willing to do that, Jim, I'm not willing to list your house. And Jim just thinks this is awesome because the last person just wanted to chat, right? They didn't come in here with anything. They're just like, you're way too cozy with my wife here. My wife's into hiring friends. This is my house. I want to maximize the return. Who's Jim going to hire? So did he open and look at the presentation? No. Could he have? Yeah. Does he need it in order for him to be able to move forward? Oh, yeah. So yeah, you bring it with you. Questions? Your follow-up campaign's everything. What you do before you go out and what you do after probably separates you from everybody else. The average, I won't even call it the average. You know, in business they have this 80-20 rule. Have you heard this?
Yes.
Okay. 20% of the people produce 80% of the results. 20% of the people produce 80% of the complaints, right? It's not true for real estate. I don't know what the number is, but it ain't 80-20. It's more like 298. 2%. Right now, almost 38% of our company has not had a single closing this year. Think about it. Let's just round it up and call it 40% of our company hasn't had a single transaction this year. It's the middle of July, sold nothing. Zip. So it's not 80-20.
It's actually pretty good because other companies that are larger than this, sometimes they have 60 or 70%, but don't sell.
Oh yeah, as we get bigger, it'll just be a higher percentage of people until I start firing them.
Yeah.
Which is, we're coming for that. I'm coming for that real soon. Real soon. We will have minimum selling expectations, and you'll meet it or you won't work here. Why? We're spending too much time on people that sell zero. And the biggest favor I would do for the people that sell zero are ask them to leave. Deal with it. Confront it. I'm not in business not to sell homes. That's the crazy, whacked out stuff we think in this thing. I'm getting the stop sign. I am. I'm going to stop with this. Not on a negative note, though, on a positive one. Okay? Your follow-up campaign, and that includes what you do before you go out on a listing appointment, as well as what you do after, is what will separate you. You want to be in that 2%? Well, here it is. You can say, I don't want to do it. You can say that. That's your choice every day. You can't say, I don't know what to do. I'm not going to allow that. You can't get away with saying that here. Everywhere else you can say, well, if somebody had just shown me what to do. Hey, prospect every day, 5 days a week. What kind of prospecting? Well, get your little fanny on the phone and call some people. Well, I don't know what to say. Well, come talk to me. I can tell you what to say. Ring, ring.
Hello?
Do you want to sell your house?
Nope.
Bye. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Do you want to sell your house?
Not really.
You want to polish it up a little bit? Polish it up. But at minimum, just do that. Keep track of your outreach. How many attempts, how many conversations, how many appointments, how many listings. Be able to say, like, I know what my numbers are. Greg.
That one is more important, I think, than people realize. You sent out in your thing this morning, setting up your second half of the year. It's really quite simple to set up your second half of the year if you know the numbers from the first half of the year. Because you can look at it and say, what did I hit? What did I miss? What do I have to do to reach the goals as you put toward the end of that note? Does this meet with your personal goals? So that one here is bigger than I think most people realize.
It gets really simple. You know, stress and anxiety comes from lack of being prepared. That's where it comes from. You feel stressed and anxiety, you aren't prepared. Hey, here's what I used to know. Now, I'm not advocating door knocking. I'm just using it as the example this morning. Every 53 doors is a listing. This gets pretty simple, folks. How many listings do I want to take? Well, I want to take 2 listings this month. Well, I guess I need to go knock on 106 doors. See? Well, I don't want to knock on 106 doors. Then you're not going to take 2 listings. I mean, it's not complex. It's pretty simple. But see how all that just cut out all the bullshit? Distractions. So I'm going to make a rule. I'm going to start in August. You can't say that word in my office. I don't want to hear this distraction stuff. You want to or you don't want to. That's what it is. There's that. Distractions. What the hell are we talking about? There's distractions all over the place. Everybody's walking around with a phone in their pocket, right? So, watch. Some people, who has an Apple Watch? Okay, so I'll pick on you. This will be fun. We'll wrap up here. So you got an Apple Watch, okay? You got a phone too?
Yep.
You do. You have a laptop. Well, let's just keep going. What else do you have? Do you have a pad?
I do.
No, you don't. When I was 8, my mom's birthday, I was an 8-year-old, okay? But I asked her friends, I organized a birthday party for my mom. Isn't that sweet?
Yes.
It was sweet. I give myself credit for that. And some old bitch made this point to me at the birthday party. I made a chocolate cake all by myself. I don't think it was very good. And I made chocolate cupcakes. What's the problem with that?
No vanilla.
Huh?
No yellow.
No. Some cupcakes and cake are the same thing in a different form. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. I didn't think I was 8. I thought, wow, I've got cupcakes and I've got a cake. I've got a smorgasbord here. And some old bitch said, well, this is just the same thing. How many different things do you need? They're all the same thing.
Not exactly.
They're not. Tell me how they're not.
Well, the Apple Watch will track movement and what I do during the day, and also allows me to leave my phone at home if I want to go for a walk.
Good point. Good point.
So the phone, it's kind of like a small computer, so I don't have to have my computer on me if I need to.
Like a cupcake's a small cake?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And a pad is a small...
So the pad allows me, it's
The pad's like the morph between the phone and the computer?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't have, so different formats.
And then here's what I hit. I'm struggling. There's just so many distractions. Really? Take the fucking watch off. It is hilarious.